Hey guys, Sandy here. Welcome back to my channel. It is off the board day. Today I am using this pen from a rainbow mixed media art journal. So instead of going rainbow, I'm going blues and greens. So I have a bunch of sprays. I also have some Vicky Bouton molding paste. And then I also brought in my All Star Stencil from Scrapping Reflections. And I have, of course, some white cardstock. So let's see what I can do. I went ahead and used my purple tape to adhere my stencil to my white cardstock. I did not trim off that branding strip. There is a reason for that, and I will show it to you guys when we start playing with the mists. I'm just taking this molding paste and using my flat spatula and pushing it through the stencil. I'm trying not to work in a whole lot of different directions because I find that when you work in a lot of different directions, you start getting spill through underneath of your stencil. Now these stencils are made out of 10 mil, so they are thicker mylar sheets than some of the other stencils that are out there, so they are a great quality. Now this is the reason why I decided to leave my branding strip on there. My original plan was to dabble on little bits of the sprays all the way across the paper and then pick the paper up and let the sprays fall. My problem was I was taking my good sweet time doing this. I was taking too long, and basically the liquid started melting into the paper. Now I could have avoided this by gessoing the paper first before I did the molding paste, but you know, hindsight is 2020, you guys. Hindsight is 2020. So now I'm just getting to the point where I'm just like, all right, we're just gonna pour this stuff out on my paper, and however it happens, it happens. And there you go. You can see me pouring and the colors mix, and that blue just kept on going. So now I'm just like, okay, we got to make this happen. And as you can see, I'm getting less and less controlled as I'm going along and doing it. So I pick it up, and now I'm just going to use my water and help it run down the box. So we're just going to go ahead and get this going. Now, if you didn't use the water, you could have had much darker results. But you would have to put on copious amounts of the product to get it to go over the color like this, or over the stars, I'm sorry, not the color. As it is, I'm using copious amounts of water, and I soak the living daylights out of the cardstock. I mean, it is sopping wet by the time I'm finished putting on my color. Now, some of my sprays don't want to spray. That's okay. I just dump them out and try a different spray. Now, like I said, if you don't want to have to deal with the amount of water, get yourself some gesso on your paper before you start, or just don't do such a ridiculous amount of color like I am doing here. Now I keep adding more and more, and I'm just going to keep adding until I'm happy with what it looks like. Until I'm happy with the amount of green and blue that I have going on. I'm just going to keep doing it. Now I am working inside of a cardboard box. This was a box from IKEA, and as you can see, I have used it for sprays and mists and stencils before. I find that it does contain my mess. Now I love making a good mess while I'm scrapbooking. I love playing with mixed media. I love playing with sprays. I love all of that stuff. The only thing I don't love is the overspray and the utter mess that my craft mat turns into. I think what I need to do is just get a mixed media craft mat so I can, you know, it doesn't matter what happens to it. But this mat that I'm working on is getting pretty ridiculous with all the stuff on it. But this box is helping me contain it. So as you can see, I'm just going to go ahead and add on little areas of color where I want it to happen. Then you saw the quick flip where the back has just about the same amount as color as the front, and that's because it is wet. So what I'm going to do is build my layout off of the background page and then place it on top when I'm finished. And this cursed ATG gives me a fit. I don't know what it is, but the red one just gives me a fit like nobody's business. The pink one behaves nicely for the most part. I am going to use some 6x8 papers. I have a mixture of Cocoa Vanilla Legendary, Paige Evans Horizon, and Chamel's Field Trip. So, well, there it is, giving me more difficulties. So I'm just going to mat my photos. I'm going to do my overlay, which I'm finding that I'm doing an awful lot right now, which is putting two 4x6 photos together with an ever so slight overlap, and they're at an ever so slight angle. And that angle is not so much where you feel like you have to turn your head when you're looking at the photos. It's just offset ever so slightly, just to give it a little bit of interest, but not enough for you to get, a crick in your neck while you're looking through the album. Now I am, like I said, going to build this off of the background. Now I use this graph paper kind of just as something to weigh it down, because I don't want my photos to look like they're just flying off the page. So we do this, and I leave the numbers showing just because I like the way it looks, and it kind of reminds me of the Backroom, so that's what I'm going with. Now, I did pull out my die cuts from Cocoa Vanilla collections that I have, so they are in here. I've got lots of these words, so I'm pulling out super and the word my, because I'm going to call this my super Backroom. Now, I do trim out some of this white space on the word super. It just looks like it was missing, like it wasn't cut out all the way, and it kind of drives me a little bit crazy. So I'm just going to cut those out myself so I don't have to be driven crazy by something. And it's not like something that's going to ruin my day if I didn't cut it out. But I just feel like it looks a lot more cohesive with the other word, because the other word doesn't have a whole heck of a lot of white left on it either. So I go ahead and do that. I'm going to leave out those stars because they are going to come into play. I'm going to use these little foam rectangles that my friend Amber gave to me. Thank you, Amber. I do place a couple of full-size ones on the back of the letters, and then I also trim down a little bit just because I don't want, saggy letters. Nobody wants a saggy letter. It's just not fun. So once I get that done, I decide that I'm going to put my super up at the top, kind of where that graph paper is, and I'm just going to put that out on there. Now, if I wanted to, the entire my super would have fit on the graph paper. And I know it's not exactly graph paper, it's more like a ledger paper, but it's reading graph paper to me right now. But I didn't want to. I wanted the numbers to be seen, so the numbers are there. I end up covering up some of the numbers later, but it's not, an excessive amount or anything like that, and I'm good with it. So I go ahead and get that on. Now I'm going to pick out letter stickers to spell out Backroom. I have these metallic teal bad boys. These are called Cinnamon, and they're older. They're from 2013. I picked them up at Tuesday morning. So who knows if you can still get them, but they have come in handy. I've used them a lot more than I thought I would have. And I'm just finding that this color kind of goes with a lot of things. Now, I did not have any more letter O's, and the number zeros that came with them were way too large to kind of finagle in there to spell out Backroom. And I cut off two of the P's so that now it says Backroom. The O's are a little bit funky, but I'm okay with it. It doesn't bother me. Since they're both funky, it doesn't feel out of place to me. If I had one O and trimmed one P down, then it would look funky. But like I said, the two O's look good together. They just look like they're supposed to be that way. So I pop out these star die cuts, and these are from Cocoa Vanilla. And I'm going to go ahead and just tuck them around the page right here. So I know that I'm going to bring this star that's up at the top of the screen onto the layout somehow. Now my layout is still damp, and you're going to be able to see that when I go ahead and use my trimmer. Now I didn't use my guillotine trimmer because I knew the paper was still damp. I actually tore the paper a little bit because it was so wet, but you know what? Stuff happens and it's fine. I am using my Nuvo Deluxe adhesive, which is my favorite liquid adhesive ever. You guys, I think I've gone through 3 or 4 bottles now, and that's amazing because, whoops, now I'm dropping it. That's amazing because every other liquid glue that I've tried, I end up throwing it away because I use it for a little while. I really figure out I don't like it and it goes in the bin. But this Nuvo Deluxe adhesive, I have stuck with it, and like I said, I think I'm on bottle 4 or 5 now. It is good stuff. It is something that I do carry in the Scrapping Reflections shop, so if you're interested, a link, of course, will be down below. I am going to flip through some of these Maggie Holmes Sweet Story stickers. I was thinking about bringing in some labels, but I was like, no, we're not going to do that. I do have these Pink Fresh stickers that says Little Moments, and also that camera. And then I grab my Love from Lizzie glitter enamel dots, and I'm just going to sprinkle 3 in each kind of cluster. Now, there is a lot going on this background. There is a lot of color with the blue and the green variations. There's a lot of texture with the molding paste and the stars. So I'm not going to do a terrible amount of embellishing on this layout. It's kind of in your face, but not in a bad way. It's in your face where more is more in the background, and that takes over, so you don't have to put on as much in the foreground. And you know, I really like this background and I didn't want to cover it up. Sometimes I make backgrounds and I don't even want to put the pictures down on the page because I just like them so much. This is one of those backgrounds. I just like it. It's fun. I mean, maybe I'll just make an album of backgrounds. That would be a little bit ridiculous, right? Please tell me that would be ridiculous. Okay, now I do pull out some Bella Boulevard epoxy stickers. These guys have been around forever. I put on the stars and then also a little arrow over by Little Moments just to give it a little something. Like I said, the background is speaking for the layout, so I just wanted to add just a tiny little bit more. So there it is, you guys. Please make sure you click on everyone's link down below that is participating in Off the Board this month. Click that subscribe button, ring that bell so you'll get notifications every time I post a video, and I will see you again real soon for another video.